Close your eyes and let your mind drift away from the world you know. Let the noise of the day fade into the background, replaced by the deep, resonant hum of the cosmos. Imagine, if you will, the vast, sprawling tapestry of the universe. It is a canvas of infinite darkness, punctuated by the brilliant, burning light of 1,000,000,000,000 stars. In the history we remember, this universe is loud. It is a saga of thunderous battles, of gods falling from the sky, of heroes rising to meet the dawn. We think of this history as solid, as inevitable as the rising sun. But time is fragile. It is not a river carved in stone, but a delicate thread, trembling in the cosmic wind. Tonight, we pull at that thread. We watch it unravel, slowly, gently.
Drifting into the shadows of what might have been. Travel back with me now. Float through the mists of memory, back to the year 2008. Below us lies a landscape of harsh, breathtaking beauty. The mountains of Afghanistan rise like jagged teeth against a sky of relentless blue. The heat here is a physical weight pressing down on the sand and stone. But our journey takes us deeper, down into the cool, dark earth, into a cave. In the story you know, this cave is a place of noise. It rings with the rhythmic, metallic heartbeat of creation. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of a hammer striking iron, forging a suit of armor from a box of scraps. The sound of a man refusing to die. But in this dream, listen, there is no hammer. There is no clang of metal against metal.
There is only the soft, rhythmic dripping of water from the cavern ceiling. Plip, plip, plip. And the low, uneven hum of a car battery. See him there, in the flickering shadows, Tony Stark, the genius, the billionaire, the man who has everything, and yet, in this moment, has nothing. In our timeline, he found a spark of defiance. He found the strength to stand up and build a miracle. But here, the pain is too great. The shrapnel, those tiny, cruel shards of metal inching towards his heart, are winning. He is tired, so very, very tired. The fire in his eyes, that famous, arrogant, brilliant spark, is dimming. He looks at the pile of scraps in the corner, but he does not see a suit of armor. He sees only cold, dead metal. He leans his head back against the rough stone wall. The air is thick with dust and the smell of stale fear. He takes a breath. It is a ragged, shallow thing. And then he simply lets go. It is a quiet moment. There is no grand speech, no dramatic explosion. Just a man, alone in the dark, slipping away into the eternal sleep. The light of the arc reactor in his chest flickers once, twice, and then goes dark. The cave falls silent, and in that silence, the universe changes forever. The timeline fractures. The Golden Avenger never rises from the sand. The age of heroes dies before it can even draw its first breath. This
is the world we are exploring tonight. A world defined not by the noise of battle, but by the heavy, suffocating weight of silence. It is a darker world, a stranger world, a place where the shadows are longer
and the night is colder. As we drift through this alternate reality, we will see cities that fall, heroes who remain lost, and a future that never comes to pass. So settle in. Let the darkness wrap around you like a heavy blanket. We are entering the silent universe, a place of melancholic beauty, where hope is a forgotten memory, and the stars are just a little bit dimmer. Let the image of the cave fade into the recesses of your mind. We leave the dust and the heat behind, traveling thousands of miles across the curvature of the earth, settling now into the cool, sterile air of Los Angeles. In our timeline, a man returned from the desert changed. He stood before the cameras, a burger in his hand, and a revelation in his heart, and he shut it all down. He stopped the gears of the war machine. But here, the podium remains empty. The press conference never happens. The gears do not stop. They only turn faster. Visualize the top floor of Stark Industries. The glass walls are thick, insulating the room from the noise of the world below. It is twilight, the blue hour, where the city lights of Los Angeles begin to flicker like distant stars against a teal sky. Inside, the air smells of expensive leather, polished mahogany, and the faint metallic scent of filtered air conditioning. Standing by the floor-to-ceiling window is a man of imposing stature, Obadiah Stane. In the reflection of the glass, his silhouette is sharp, dominating the skyline. He is bald, his beard gray and neatly trimmed, his suit a pristine armor of charcoal wool. He looks out at the world not with the eyes of a madman, but with the cold, calculating gaze of a titan of industry. There is no grief in this room. There is only the quiet satisfaction of order. With Tony gone, the volatility is removed from the equation. The board of directors, initially panicked, has been soothed by the steady hand of the old guard. Stane does not need to build a giant suit of armor to seize power. He does not need to hunt anyone down. He simply sits in the chair that was always waiting for him, signs a document with a heavy fountain pen. Scratch, 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 and the legacy of Stark Industries is sealed. Drift with me now, down from the tower, into the belly of the beast. We move into the vast manufacturing hangars. The lighting here is dramatic, shafts of orange industrial light cutting through the haze of welding smoke and steam. It is a cathedral of steel. Listen to the rhythm of this place. It is a mechanical symphony. The hydraulic hiss of robotic arms, the rhythmic thud of presses stamping sheets of titanium, the conveyor belts humming an endless, monotonous tune. Here, the Jericho missile is not a limited prototype. It is the main product line. Row upon row of sleek, terrifying shapes, painted in matte beige and olive drab, sitting silently on the assembly floor. They look beautiful in a terrible way, like sleeping predators waiting to be woken. In this timeline, the merchants of death are not shutting their doors. They are expanding. Crates stamped with the Stark Industries logo are loaded onto forklifts, then onto trucks, then onto ships that sail quietly into the night.
Follow these ships across the dark oceans. Watch as they dock in secret ports under the cover of fog and bribery. The weapons flow like a dark river,
feeding the roots of conflict in every corner of the globe. The 10 rings, Hydra cells hiding in the shadows, rogue military factions, they all receive their shipments. The balance of power shifts. It becomes heavier, more unstable. There is no Iron Man to fly into the gulch and destroy the stockpile. There is no high-tech vigilante to burn the weapons of war. There is only the market, efficient and ruthless. The world becomes a place of constant simmering tension. Small wars flare up and burn brighter, fueled by repulsor technology that should have been used for clean energy, now repurposed for more efficient destruction. S.H.I.E.L.D. tries to stem the tide, but they are fighting a Hydra with infinite heads. And the very weapons they face are manufactured by their own contractor. It is a darker age, a time of shadow and smoke. And high above it all, safe in his glass tower, Obadiah Stane sleeps soundly, the master of a world without a hero to challenge the bottom line.
Let the smoke of the factories drift away, dissolving into the mists of time. We move forward now, 4 years into the future, arriving at a moment etched into the collective memory of the multiverse. The year is 2012. We find ourselves hovering above the island of Manhattan. In the world you remember, this was a day of triumph, a day where a team of remarkable people came together to fight the battles that we never could. But in this silent universe, the air is heavy with the scent of ozone and despair. The sky above New York City has been torn open. A portal, swirling with deep bruised purples and electric blues, gapes like a wound in the heavens. Through it, the Chitauri descend. They move like a swarm of locusts, silent and relentless.
They're leviathans swimming through the air as if the atmosphere were an ocean. Down on the streets, the battle is raging, but it is a losing fight. Captain America, Thor, the Hulk, they are there, fighting with the desperation of gods and soldiers. But they are pinned down. They are earthbound. Without the Golden Avenger to dominate the skies, without the repulsor blasts to herd the invasion, the defenders are overwhelmed. The city is drowning in shadow. There is a palpable sense of inevitability here, a heavy weight pressing down on the chest of the world. The Avengers look up, their faces streaked with dust and sweat, searching the clouds for air support that will never come.
They are waiting for a savior who lies buried in a cave half a world away. Far away, in the cold, sterile light of the World Security Council chambers, a decision is made. It is a decision born of fear, calculated in the cold arithmetic of acceptable losses. A button is pressed. A command is sent. From the deck of a jet, a nuclear missile detaches. Watch it now in your mind's eye. See it glide through the air, sleek and terrible. It catches the sunlight, gleaming with a deadly polished beauty. It streaks across the water, flying low over the Hudson River, its reflection a dark ripple on the surface below. It is heading for the heart of the city. It is heading for the portal. In the timeline of light.
This is the moment where the music swells. This is the moment where Tony Stark, defying orders, defying death itself, intercepts the missile. He catches the weight of the world on his shoulders and carries it upward into the cold void of space. We remember the strain in his voice, the final call to Pepper, the sacrifice. But here, listen to the wind. It whistles through the canyons of steel and glass. It is empty. There is no streak of red and gold. There is no roar of thrusters. The sky remains vast and unoccupied. The missile flies true. It does not turn upward. It continues its trajectory, straight into the heart of Midtown Manhattan. Time seems to slow down. The Avengers, seeing the incoming streak,
realize too late that the end has arrived. There is a moment of absolute stillness, a heartbeat where the entire city seems to hold its breath. The noise of the invasion fades into a dull hum, and then the light. It is not a fire, it is a blinding, absolute whiteness. A second sun blooms between the skyscrapers. It is a silent, expanding sphere of pure energy that washes away the shadows, the Chitauri, the heroes, and the city itself. The explosion is not loud. It is too great for sound. It is a wave of erasure. The heat vaporizes the concrete, the steel, the memories of 1,000,000 lives. The mushroom cloud rises, tall and terrible, piercing the very portal that brought the invaders. But the tragedy is not just in the destruction.
It is in the futility. The mothership on the other side of the portal remains untouched. The invasion is not stopped, it is merely displaced. The portal eventually closes, but the damage is absolute. Where a metropolis once stood, now lies a crater of glass and ash, glowing softly in the twilight. The world falls into a stunned, terrified silence. The age of heroes has ended in nuclear fire, and a dark, cold winter begins to settle over the human spirit.
As we float deeper into this silent universe, we encounter a strange paradox of loss. In the world of light, Tony Stark's genius was a double-edged sword. It protected the world, but it also birthed monsters. Here, in the shadows, those monsters remain unborn. Let your mind wander to the concept of Ultron. In our memory, he is a terrified, terrifying intelligence, born of code and hubris, a mirror held up to humanity's worst instincts. But without the Man of Iron to dream him into existence, the code remains unwritten. The scepter of Loki sits in a cold, dark vault, its blue gem pulsing with a rhythmic, hypnotic light, dreaming of a mind that will never wake. There is no robotic army rising from the earth. There is no falling city of Sokovia.
The clouds above Eastern Europe remain unbroken, drifting lazily over mountains that never tremble under the weight of a vibranium meteor. And in this silence, another absence is felt, a beautiful, tragic absence. Vision, the synthesizoid with the soul of a philosopher. Without Ultron to forge the body, and without Stark to upload the mind, Vision never opens his eyes. The Mind Stone never finds a forehead to rest upon. That profound, calming voice that spoke of beauty in humanity's failures, it is never heard. The universe is denied one of its most noble spirits. The equation of life remains unsolved, simple and cold. Now let the wind carry us across the Atlantic, back to the scarred coast of the Americas. We drift over the boroughs of New York City. Manhattan is a ghost, a cratered memory of glass and ash, fenced off and silent. But life, stubborn and resilient, clings to the edges. In the borough of Queens, the lights still flicker on. The trains still rumble over the elevated tracks, a rhythmic lullaby of steel on steel.
clack, 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 clack. Perched high on a brick cornice, overlooking the dark silhouette of the ruined city across the river, sits a figure. He is small against the vastness of the night sky. In the story we know, this boy was plucked from obscurity by a billionaire mentor. He was given a suit of high-tech wonders, artificial intelligence, instant kill modes, parachute wings. He was invited to the high table of gods. But here, listen to the rustle of fabric in the wind. It is not the sleek hum of nanotechnology. It is the soft sound of a cotton hoodie flapping in the breeze. Peter Parker sits alone. He wears a suit stitched together from sweatpants and fear. His mask is not a marvel of engineering. It is a balaclava with goggles made of welding glass and shutter apertures. He adjusts the lenses with a gloved hand, the mechanism clicking softly. Click, whir, click. There is no voice in his ear calling him underoos. There is no Karen to guide his path or analyze his combat patterns. There is only the static of a police scanner clipped to his belt, hissing with the tragedies of a frightened city.
He looks out at the void where the Avengers Tower should have been. In this timeline, he is not an Avenger. He is not a planetary defender. He is a kid from Queens, shivering slightly in the damp night air, trying to hold back a tide that is far too big for his hands. He swings not from gleaming skyscrapers, but from tenement fire escapes and rusted lampposts. His webs are chemical miracles mixed in a high school chemistry lab, dissolving into dust after an hour. He fights muggers, carjackers, the desperate symptoms of a broken economy. There is a profound loneliness to him. He waits for a mentor who never came. He looks for a father figure who died in a cave before he was even born. The burden of responsibility weighs heavy on his young shoulders. With great power, the phrase echoes in his mind, not as a mantra of hope, but as a solemn duty in a world devoid of protectors. He is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but the neighborhood is dark, and the friends are few. He stands up, balancing perfectly on the edge of the roof. The sirens wail in the distance, a mournful song for a fallen city. He takes a breath, shoots a thwip of white webbing into the shadows, and swings away into the night, a solitary spark of red and blue in a universe of gray.
Let the image of the lonely vigilante fade into the deepening twilight. We must now travel further along this river of shadows, past the ruins of New York, past the small, quiet tragedies of a world without its farmerer. We drift forward in time, years bleeding into years, until we reach the ultimate threshold, the inevitable arrival. In every version of history, the Titan comes, Thanos. He's a force of nature, a cosmic certainty. In the world of light, he was met with a fortress of nanotechnology, with a wizard's spells, with a unified front of Earth's mightiest heroes. But here, he meets only scattered resistance. There is no battle on Titan to draw a drop of blood. There is no final stand in Wakanda that holds the line. The stones are gathered.
The gauntlet is filled, and the snap happens not as a climactic tragedy, but as a quiet, crushing certainty. Dust. That is the defining texture of this era. Not the dust of the cave, but the dust of existence itself. Watch as half the universe simply dissolves. There is no bargaining, no final words, just a sudden terrifying lightness as friends, lovers, and children turn to ash and drift away on the wind.
The silence that follows is heavy enough to crush a star. It is a silence that stretches on for days, then months, then 5 long gray years. We find ourselves now in the year 2023. The world is a different place. It is cleaner, perhaps. The skies are bluer, the water clearer.
Whales swimming up the Hudson River past the skeletal remains of the bridges. But it is a hollow beauty. It is a garden grown over a graveyard. In the timeline we remember, this is the moment of the spark. A rat scampers across a dashboard, a button is pressed, and Scott Lang returns from the quantum realm with a frantic, impossible idea. Time heist. The concept of stealing the stones from the past to save the future. It is a desperate, mad plan. In the story of Light, it required 2 minds to unlock. It needed the optimism of Scott Lang, but it required the singular, unparalleled genius of Tony Stark to make it real. We remember the scene vividly. Late at night, in a warm, cluttered kitchen, Tony runs a simulation. He eats a slice of fruit.
"Inverted Mobius strip," he whispers. And suddenly, the impossible becomes navigable. He finds the GPS for the time stream. But here, travel with me to that same kitchen. It is dark. The lights are off. The table is empty. There is no hologram shimmering in the air. There is no genius staring into the model of time and finding the path. There is only the hum of the refrigerator and the empty chair where a father should be. The breakthrough never happens. The equation remains unsolved. Shift your gaze to the Avengers compound, or what remains of it. Bruce Banner, the Hulk with the mind of a scientist, tries. Oh, how he tries. He stands before the quantum tunnel, sweating.
His massive hands trembling over the controls. He pushes time through the passenger instead of the passenger through time. The experiments are disastrous. The results are chaotic. Without Stark's specific understanding of spectral variance and temporal displacement, the quantum realm is not a highway. It is a locked door. It is a labyrinth with no exit. The realization begins to settle in, cold and permanent. The heroes gather around a table, looking at equations that do not balance, at simulations that crash and fail over and over again. Red error messages pulsing in the dark lab. The hope that flickered for a moment with Lang's return begins to die out, suffocated by the lack of a single crucial variable.
They realize that the key to the lock lies buried in a grave from 2008. The math is simply too complex. The paradoxes are too great. The universe has been halved, and there is no way back. This is the true horror of the silent universe. It is not the violence, it is the permanence. The grief is not a phase, it is a permanent state of being. The 50% who vanished are not blipped away for a moment. They are gone forever. The monuments to the vanished, the walls of names etched in stone in every city, these are not temporary memorials. They are the final tombstones of a broken reality. The Avengers, those who remain, must live with the absolute knowledge that they failed. They drift apart, ghosts haunting a world that is too big and too empty.
The equation remains unsolved, a jagged scar in the mathematics of the cosmos, proving that sometimes willpower is not enough. Sometimes you simply need the mechanic who knew how to fix the machine.
And so we come to the end of our journey through the shadows. We have drifted on the dark currents of probability, witnessing a world stripped of its golden armor. We have seen the towering silence of the cities, the cold calculations of industry, and the quiet, crushing weight of a timeline where the heroes never came to save the day. It is a heavy world, isn't it? A world where the night is just a little bit longer and the dawn is just a little bit further away. But as we prepare to leave this silent universe behind, let us return one last time to the beginning. Let your mind float back through the years, past the dust of the snap, past the ashes of New York, past the cold factories. Float all the way back to the mountains of Afghanistan, back to the cave.
It is quiet here. The air is still. The only sound is the rhythmic dripping of water, counting the seconds of a future that will never happen. Look at the center of the room. There sits an anvil. It is a simple block of iron, cold and rusted. Sitting upon it is a hammer. In the world of light, the world you wake up to, this hammer was an instrument of destiny. It was a conductor's baton leading a symphony of fire and steel. Clang, clang, clang. Each strike was a heartbeat. Each strike was a declaration of existence. Those strikes sent ripples through the fabric of reality, waking up giants, challenging gods, and shielding the earth from the encroaching dark. But here, look closely at the hammer. It rests on its side.
It is covered in a fine layer of gray dust. It has not moved. It has not struck the iron. It has not sparked the fire. It is simply a tool, waiting for a hand that has gone cold. This is the missing spark. The entire history of the universe, the fate of trillions of lives, the difference between a universe of noise and a universe of silence, all came down to the strength of one man's arm in a dark room. It is a humbling thought, is it not? How fragile the tapestry of time truly is. We think of history as a mighty river, carving its path through the stone of eternity. But perhaps it is more like a candle flame, flickering in the wind. One breath, one moment of weakness, one missing beat, and the light goes out. The story changes. The hero becomes a memory, and the memory fades into the myth of what might have been. As you lie here, safe in the comfort of your own timeline, let the silence of this alternate world wash over you. It is a tragic silence, yes, but it is also a peaceful one. The wars of the stars are distant here. The struggles of the Avengers are non-existent. There is only the quiet, endless drift of the cosmos. The universe, in all its vastness, continues to spin. Stars are born, and stars die, regardless of who stands to protect them. The great machine turns, silent and indifferent. Let the image of the cave fade now. Let the anvil and the hammer dissolve into the mist. You are leaving the silent universe behind. You are returning to your own reality, where the hammer did strike, where the hero did rise, and where the light still burns bright against the dark. But for now, hold on to that quiet. Let it settle in your chest, slow and rhythmic. Breathe in the peace of the void. Breathe out the noise of the day. The story is over. The timeline is at rest. And now, it is time for you to rest as well. Good night.